Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Mom and I are so grateful that you can join us for another week, and we're super excited. We have Joy Baker back on with us on the podcast today, and we're going to talk about some clearings, and we're going to talk about her 33 days of healing program that she's got happening. So, welcome back, Joy. We're excited to have you on with us.
Thank you for having me back on. It's great to connect again with you, Kim and Barb.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about this healing program that you've started?
Oh, the healing program. Yeah, I've been doing it for 3, 4 years now, I guess. So it's 33 days of, so you get group remote healing sent to you every day for a minimum of 30 minutes. So it's like during that 33 days, we hold everybody in a beautiful healing space. And then there's two Q&A calls. They are group Q&A calls. They're 2+ hours each. So it's all about answering questions. For over 2 hours, I answer questions. There's meditations, clearings, activations. Those are really powerful. And then every Monday and Thursday, I send out messages from Spirit. They're MP3s. And I just channel them, whatever's coming through. So you get them twice a week during the 33 days. And then as soon as you sign up, this time, usually I always include, as soon as you join, there's a MP3, but it's usually around 20, 30 minutes. This is an hour-long chakra balance on money. You get that as soon as you join. So that could really go towards changing your money situation if that's the thing. So, and that goes on for 33 days. So I've had some people, experience some pretty profound changes.
Beautiful.
I would imagine it's interesting when you start doing some of these clearings and kind of just take away some of these beliefs that we've kind of adopted as we've been growing, how much it does actually open things up for you and
Hmm.
bring them forward for you. And I know for myself it was really quite funny because we had somebody contact Mom and I and asked if we would do a Reiki healing if we had any availability. And she had kind of been working with this client. So I kind of stepped back and then I was like, hey, just a second. What if this is the universe's way of saying, you said you wanted to be more open to, having healing and doing that. And so then I messaged her right away and I was like, I'm available this day. So
Awesome.
I think in that, like, can you talk about that a little bit? Like, did I do the right thing or
So you've been saying you want to get more into healing and offering healing services.
yeah.
Yeah. So the universe gave you an opportunity to say yes, and that you were ready for it. Like you told the universe, you thought about it, and so the opportunity presented itself. When the opportunity presented itself, you were ready. So saying yes, yeah, that was the universe is saying, hey, this is what you asked for. I'll give this to you. And if you had said no, the universe might have given you another opportunity. We do get opportunities come along, but if we continue to say no, eventually we'll. And I've had clients where opportunities have come up, and for them to step really into their healing self or expand their business, and they're not ready, and they say no, and then they stay stuck in struggle.
Okay. Thank you. I kind of thought that, and I just wanted to share that with people too, because I think so often we do ask for these things and these opportunities do arise, and then we like shut the door, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we continue shutting the door, I love that where you were saying that is right. We're kind of just blocking that. So, and I think for myself, it's definitely a imposter syndrome issue.
Mm, that's a big thing. I've just been thinking about that this week, and I started doing this full time. So 10 years in the fall. So September 2015, I made the commitment. September 2016, a year later, I got on my first show. And I'm still, so it's what, 8.5, almost 9 years later. And I'm still just starting to feel like not that I can do this. I wasn't worried about that, but up until now, I've been feeling, I used to work with horses, like the country girl that worked with horses and rode horses and mucked stalls. And I just had this kind of unique healing gift that could help people. And so I did this. And it's taken me this long to really start to align with that and believe, that's who I am and my identity. So yeah, imposter syndrome, it's a real thing, that's for
It
sure.
is.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I keep adding things into kind of into my tool bag. But yeah, and I've been getting, and it's funny how messages come because I was thinking about some stuff this morning, and then I pulled my, and journaling about it, and then I pulled an oracle card, and it was like, hello, here's the message. And then no word of a lie, I was like, oh, I have some time. It's my day off. I'm going to read a little bit of a book. Start reading the book, and it's like the exact same sentence, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Right? I'm
That's
here to serve. I get it. I got it.
that's awesome that you were ready to, and ready and willing to hear that, because so often, if we're not ready, we won't hear it. And that's why you have to say something or have to hear something, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 times. And when you get the aha, it'll be like you've heard it several times, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, it makes sense. Then the biological changes happen and the changes happen in your brain and such. Um, and I just want to go back to something you said earlier, Kim, is that at the beginning, you had said to the universe. So, and then the universe gave you, that sign and you said yes to it. When we create the conditions, it's almost, I've been thinking about miracles lately. We actually create the conditions, I believe. And some people might not like me taking the mystical, I guess, aspect, kind of explaining it. But we create the opportunity for those miracles. It was like when I got the client I was working with offered to send my information to the co-producer of a show she knew the first time I got on. And I was ready. So I said yes. And then, I got on my first show and here I am now. But I had spent 2 years before that getting ready for that opportunity so that when, like, if somebody said to me 2 years before, you ought to get on the shows. And I, first I completely went, no, not me. That's what am I going to say? I couldn't do that. I don't want to be seen in front of anybody. All the reasons, we have to say no. But then I started thinking about it. So I started saying to myself, well, what if it's possible? What if it's possible? My ego mind, it would come in, give me all the reasons and all the proof I'd had from my, past experiences why it's not possible. But I kept saying, well, what if it is possible over and over and over again? And then I made, like I said, I made the commitment. I quit my job and with literally no money, I just said, this is happening. And I committed to it. And, there were times I was standing I'd be standing in my kitchen. I got $40 to my name. I remember this happening during that, year-long period. $40 to my name. I had, no money in the bank, no credit cards. Well, I was going through, when I committed to start launching my business, I was actually going through my second bankruptcy. I wasn't discharged from it yet. And so I didn't have any credit cards, no savings, no investments, nobody I could ask for money. I mean, and I had no clients when I started up, but I had that commitment, and that it was more than a commitment. It was like, it was time, when it's time, like you said, it's time to take your healing to the next level.
Mhm.
And I would stand in my kitchen. I did this several times over the first year, saying to the universe, this is my situation. I either need clients or I need a contract. I've been doing chair massage. And I said, I need a contract for chair massage so I can make some money. I need something because, I have bills to pay and rent to pay and such. And within 24 hours, every time something showed up, so, clients, or I just gotten, given a free session, and a client decided to buy 3 sessions, something like that. I remember when that happened, that first check. And this was, well, almost 10 years ago. So she was writing me a check. And we don't, often use them anymore. And
True.
I still remember she stood in my kitchen and she wrote out that check for 3 sessions. And I remember after she left, I actually took a picture of it. And a little bit of throat chakra energy coming in here just a sec. Okay, so let's just clear the throat chakra a little bit for everybody here. So
Good
any
idea.
ways in which you are, any ways in which you are fearful of sharing your truth and your authentic truth. And there it is. All the ways you're afraid of sharing and letting others hear and discover the divine power within you. And that is causing you to go into hiding and shut down your throat chakra. There you go. Let's just let that go. There's some fun and laughter. There's a bit of happiness. Anyways, what I was saying, I took a picture of that first check, and I remember looking at it after she left. I'm like, oh my God, I can eat. Thank God. I was, it was enough for me to eat for the next month and such. And and then I went through some other things. I actually built my website. I'd resisted building a website and have an online presence. I built my website during that, that time period. Anyway, I'd made several changes and decisions and such during that 2-year period. And when my client said, would you like me to send your information to the co-producer of the show I know? I was ready and I said yes. And that it was like a miracle that it happened, but at the same time, it's like we take steps along the way to create that miracle. And then, yeah, like I said, here I am now. If I had said no, well, we wouldn't be talking. So,
No, and that's exactly it. And I think, I love where you were talking about believing in it, because I think this is part of the missing key that people are missing is when you have this dream, you have to 100% believe in it. Even if you can't really see the whole big picture of it, it's like you have to have that belief and you have to just keep thinking, this is going to show up for me. Things are going to fall in line, but it's a hard thing to do, to have that belief. And I know, because I often wrestle with the whole, I have my corporate job and then I have what I do on the side, and I'd rather be doing the side stuff. But I mean, I applaud you because you took that leap. And often when you take that leap, the universe is like, oh, okay, you're ready. Let me help you out.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is tough when you have a job, especially one, that's more of a corporate environment, and you're trying to start something on the side, because it takes I did that for 20 years after leaving the horses. Like, I knew as soon as I left the horses, I wanted to do this and, coaching and such. And then I got introduced to the healing and the energy work. And I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. But it took me 20 years before I said, this is the time. And, in the meantime, I did tons of inner work on myself, learned about myself, learned how to be around people, because horses, I was great. Animals, I was great. People, they were another species. And so I had to learn how to be around people, how to talk to them. I took, counselor training, plus all kinds of courses and such. And I did a couple of times because I would quit my jobs. I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to do this. And so I would find I call them survival jobs. And so I would do a job for a while. I remember working you're in Canada, so you heard of TELUS?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, for people that don't know, that's our, phone and internet company here in Western Canada. And so, huge corporate company. And I went to work for them they hired me because I had, pretty good sales background, and they hired me. And the corporate environment, I remember driving out of there one day and the little girl within me saying, you're killing me. And I just couldn't be there. And one of my friends, when I quit, went, what are you doing? This is TELUS. Look at the benefits and the pension and such. And I just couldn't do it. I stayed there, passed my 3-month probation, and then I left the following week. And I did in between jobs. There was a couple of times I went, okay, this is it. And I tried to launch my business, but I had no money, and it had, you need money. So I would find another job. And back then I would do telemarketing, cold calling, any kind of sales position. I did commission sales positions and such. But this time, because I just turned 53, and I want to have, my business running, launched, and a good income by the time I turned 65. So it's just, the timing was just right. And I'm sure you've had people say, well, I've had this dream for the longest time. I don't know if it's, should I still hold on to it, or should I just let go of it or go for something else? There could be one common belief system we have with money, and when we feel like we have a job but we want to do something else and we're building our passion on the side, is I can only make money doing something I don't like, or even I can only make money doing something I hate. But if I love it, I can't make money at it. And we often have that belief that if it's my passion, I won't make money at it. So well, actually, let's just release that belief now. Anybody that has that belief that I can only make money doing like a job or something that I hate or don't like. And if my passion, I can't make money at, let's just let that go. Let it go on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, cellular, and throughout all time and space. It is possible. It absolutely is possible to make money with your passion because there are people who are proof. I am proof that you can, even if you're going through the struggle, even if you've got, like I thought about it for 20 years, and there were times I lost that dream and I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. It was always there. It was just my trauma and all this stuff that was, shielding that dream from, or me from that dream, blocking it. But I always came back to that. And when the timing was right, and I believed in myself enough, and that was the biggest thing, believing in that I could make a difference and believing in my gifts that they had value and that I had value. And so anybody who was resisting knowing that they have value and their gifts have value and that they can make a difference, whether it's healing or it's playing music, sharing their music, paintings, if you want to be a truck driver, whatever it is, you do make a difference. So if you're not valuing what you're doing, and if you're not valuing yourself, and that's keeping you stuck in making money in ways that you would rather let go of, just let this all go. Just let it go on all levels. Send that to the light and give yourself permission to value yourself. Give yourself permission to feel good about yourself and give yourself permission to value what you can offer others. And know that people all around the world, when they value themselves, their skills, their gifts, and that's their passion, they can and do make money with their passion, and you can as well. You can as well. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let that go. Okay.
That
Just
was
that came
amazing.
up,
I
so I
just
wanted
felt
to.
like this lightness kind of lift off of me when you did that. So thank
Awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
you. So do you think that as people are trying to do these different things with money or passions or things like that, do they need to like clear themselves of the belief and then activate new stuff into their belief system?
Yeah, if you're feeling stuck, there's some kind of money belief there or something that is keeping you stuck. So let's say you're feeling stuck or you've got a job that you want to leave, but you follow your passion because that's so common. First of all, if you don't think it's possible, start asking yourself like a mantra. And I did this for 2 years. What if it's possible? What if it's possible? What if it's possible? What if bypasses the resistance of your ego mind? It is something greater. What if it's possible? And when you say possible over and over again, you open up the energy within yourself, within the energy field, and possibilities and opportunities start coming in. And then ask yourself if you're feeling stuck. Now, you have to trust yourself, but just ask yourself what belief or emotion could be stuck here, and just trust whatever comes up. If it says not enough, that's a core belief that most people on the planet have actually, is not enough. So feeling not enough money, not enough opportunities, just not enough. And that affects our life in so many ways. But it might be emotion. Oh, shame. Okay, so shame's there. So just you can talk to it if you want. Just say, oh, shame. Okay, so you can see how you're keeping me stuck. Well, shame, you know what? I really want to move forward. So we're just going to send you to the light and just keep sending that shame to the light. And you can do this as many times as a day, during the week as you want. Just do it over and over again because you're clearing, when you do that, you're clearing like one level of that emotion, but other, as you go deeper and deeper, and as you start taking action towards your dreams and passions, then more stuff will come up. But emotions, energy and motion, they have consciousness. So if it's shame, if it's guilt, and if you name it, if it's guilt and you call it shame, that's okay. It's humans that put words on it. The energy itself doesn't care what it's called. So you don't worry about getting it right. You're simply identifying that stuck energy within you with whatever human word, comes up. And then when you talk to it, see, as you know, we're energy beings, emotions are energy. That is you trying to be acknowledged and accepted. So when you can talk to whether it's shame or it's guilt or feeling helpless, like I can't do this, just let's take helplessness. Well, you can, so let's say you're saying you're feeling stuck or I can't do this. And you ask yourself, what belief or what emotion could be keeping me stuck? Let's say helplessness comes up. Just say, okay, helplessness, thank you for showing yourself. I acknowledge you and I accept you. And you know what, helplessness, I've got some dreams I want to move forward to here. So we're just going to send you to the light. And what you're doing is you're acknowledging and accepting yourself. And if you do that, that is so powerful. Do it over and over and over again. The reason I just want to add something there. Sorry, I just thought of something. I just want to add something. The reason we'll hear something like this is often we do have to hear something multiple times before we change. But when you shift, even listening to something like this, your energy is shifting.
Yes.
As your energy shifts and it starts to move and flow within you, that will cause you to think differently, feel differently, and it can feel so much safer just staying stuck. When you're stuck, then everything stays the same, and that's our comfort zone. To the ego mind, its job is to keep you safe. So the ego mind, same equals safe. So it will do everything it can to keep you safe. So does everything it can to keep everything the same. So if you're hearing a practice like this or some kind of other practice that does make a difference, and you're going, oh, that's nice, but and then you walk away or you do it once and that's it.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this my ego mind or my unconscious conditioned self, my conditioning that is trying to keep me stuck? And just listen to the answer. Chances are, it'll be either a yes or no. If it's a yes, just ask yourself how much you want to move forward towards that dream. I just wanted to share that as well.
No, we appreciate that
Yeah, exactly.
because I think it's so true, right? Like I loved how you explained that because I do think we often put ourselves in these little prisons, so to speak, of not moving forward because it's uncomfortable for change.
Yes.
And I often ask myself that like what if this happens and then it's like what will happen to my life, what will happen to the people in my life, and then I need to remind myself that people are in our life for what do they say, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And
Mm-hmm.
the people that are meant to be part of my tribe will move forward with me, and the people that are not, well, they'll still be a part of my life, but they're just not
Different
in that
value.
group,
Yeah.
right? And what if this and what if that, but it's letting those things go because those are part of holding you in that prison of, oh well, I don't want to move forward because I don't want to make those changes because what if I hurt people, or I what I
Yeah.
mean, like
Other thing.
Yeah, yeah. And
Right.
that's big. That's the comfort zone. It's the energy you grew up in, like energetically and emotionally. That's the emotional energy you grew up in. And it's comfortable. So it's familiar. So you grew up in we all do. We grow up in the energy field, and there are certain emotions in that. And if there's primarily, shame, guilt, anger, anxiety, um, abuse, and trauma, anything like that, those emotions, so you're an adult, you're on the path, and as much as they're toxic and dysfunctional and you want to move out of them, they're familiar. What's familiar is comforting, and that's your comfort zone. And the comfort zone is comfortable. My mentor used to say, when I started on the path, he used to say, what was the saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable. because if you're moving forward towards something, you're going to be uncomfortable. And like you said, it's those, who will be in my life? What if, will I have to let go of this people or person, or will I have to let go of this, or is this going to be necessary? But trust yourself. And you are here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. You're here to make a difference. If you're listening to something like this, you are a light being. And you're here to share your light. Now, just being that, living in the world as a light being, you're making a difference. But if you're attracted to, shows like this and listening to speakers and being in the light, then there's something within you that wants more, and you want your light to shine even greater. So allow yourself to, it's like, know that change is scary, but you will get through it, and you're here for a greater purpose.
Yeah. Be fearful, but do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I like to say take action despite the fear.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we hold ourselves so in that comfortable position for far too long. And I agree with you. I think we are led to the shows that we hear and who we follow and those kind of things, right? Like, because I have my favorites that I follow and I watch their program. And I know one of the girls that I follow is Tammy Mastrobodi, and I know you've
Mm.
been on her show a few
Yeah.
times. And so, like, you're just led to those and for the people that you need to hear and the messages that you need to hear to come in. We just need to be a little more open, I think, to them.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly. I totally agree with you there. We're led to shows or speakers or experiences that will awaken within us what is ready and wanting to awaken. It's just, it's that pull of the comfort zone. But what if you said to yourself, you know what, I'm going to allow myself to be what is it again? I keep forgetting the saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're going to change is uncomfortable. And we like to stay in the comfort zone and know when, like I often have, clients say, how can I connect with my guides, or how can I connect with the angels, or the spiritual beings? And one of the questions I will ask them is, well, what do you expect to come through? Because often we have an expectation of, well, I want to do this. So I want an action plan. So, hey, guys up there, could you give me an action plan of the steps I have to take? And it's usually not that black and white, but that's what people are wanting. They're wanting some kind of action plan, but they might tell you one word or a sentence or a phrase. But generally, it's not a book or it's not action steps. Chances are, if anybody's asking themselves that question, or how can I connect with my guides, chances are your guides are talking to they are connecting with you, but either you're not hearing them or you're not seeing the signs, because often, they won't be words, but they will be signs. Like you hear a speaker, or somebody comes into your life, or you're walking past something and you see it, and if you're ready, you will pay attention. So any ways in which you are expecting to hear, uh, like any ways in which you're blocking your guides because you have expectations and certain ways that it should come in, just let that go. Let go of controlling the messages, controlling the signs, and just allow yourself to receive what the signs that your guides and the spiritual beings are trying to provide you with, support you with. There you go. There's some relaxation and ease.
Yeah, and I think
Thank you.
yes, thank you. I think it's really interesting because I think a lot of people expect some big, loud, booming voice that, like kind of you were saying, right, is going to give you the exact answer and lay it all out for you. And yeah, so often, like even this morning, right, there was my sign. It was like, okay, it's in this, it's in this, it's in this. Okay, I got it. There's my sign. And it was just 3 words, right? Basically, you're meant to serve. So that was my message. And so I have to go with that. But I often see things when I'm driving or whatever. And it's always interesting to me what shows up when you need it, if
Yes.
you're open to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it does. It shows up when you need it and when you're open to it. And trust is so plays such a big part. Like you heard the words and you were ready for them and you went, okay, here's I heard the words, here's the opportunity, you got to take action on it.
Yeah.
So you did. Good for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, sometimes I'm paying attention. Sometimes I need that, like, hello, are you listening?
Yeah, we all do.
Hello.
Yeah, sometimes
Get
we need the
louder and
answer.
louder, right? And
Yeah.
it's and I truly believe like if we don't listen, sometimes if we're meant our trajectory is supposed to be a different way, I believe the universe will step in and do something more drastic
Trip you
to
up somehow.
help you get
Mhm.
to where you need to be, rather that's, you're losing your job or you're losing a relationship or you're whatever it
Yeah.
is to make you kind of, okay, you're not listening. We need you on this path.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel about
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes, well, when I was first started on this path, so it was probably about 27, 28, no, maybe even longer than that, 29 years ago, and just knew it all this, all this stuff and the power of the mind and belief systems and such. And I'd gone to a workshop and 3-day workshop, and I met some people there, and I ended up going to this. I didn't know the guy. It was some guy's birthday party, but the people I'd met there, and one was my friend, that I ended up going to this guy's birthday party and we walk in and he was really upset because he just lost his job. And he'd been working with his dad. He was, I think, around 25 or something. He'd been working with his dad and he'd lost his job. But I guess he'd always wanted to do something else. And when I first heard that, because I was still more in the 3D thinking, like, oh my God, you lost your job. What are you going to do now? I didn't say it, but I still remember thinking that. This still stands out. Everybody else went, oh my gosh, you lost your job. Congratulations. Now you can follow your passion.
Nice.
And, but my way of thinking was, oh my gosh, he lost his job. What's he going to do now for money and all that? Where people who were further along the path and more aware of how the universe speaks to us went, great, you lost your job. You didn't want it anyways. Now you can follow what you've been wanting to do.
it.
And I
Yeah.
still remember that. Yeah.
And that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that with everybody because I think, it shows us as we go along our path, we start growing and what are we thinking changes, right? From moving from this 3D life, which we do have to live because we're here
Mhm.
on the earth plane, but we start to ascend and then we think a little bit different. And it's like, oh, okay, like that happened at work. Somebody got fired, and I was like, first it was oh my gosh, that's terrible, but then I was like, oh, obviously there's a reason and it's meant to be, and she's meant to go on and do something different and better, and she was stuck here. So
Mhm.
I always think about that. And
Yeah, yeah. And that was, yeah, I was very much in that 3D conditioning of, even though I've been to a couple workshops by then, but of lack and limitation and scarcity, and you have to have a job to make money. And, you can't follow your passion because how's that going to make you money? All of that. So yeah, it was such a contrast. When I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, he lost his job. How's he going to pay, bills? And just, it was really quick in the moment, but his thoughts, it's almost 30 years later. And I still remember, sometimes you remember just those, experiences, just a random experience like decades ago, and it stands out. And that one stands out because everybody else was like, good on you. You can follow your passion now.
yeah, do you think that was a lesson for you then, that for the reason that it stands out is to remind you of, oh, look how far I've come, maybe?
I never thought of that. Look how far I've come. But yeah, I certainly don't think that way now. It's that you lost your job and you've been wanting to do something else. The universe is telling you something. But I think, yeah, it was definitely a lesson, especially that I've remembered it almost 30 years later
Mm.
of just like we were saying, the universe will, sometimes it gives you a nudge, sometimes gives you a real kick in the butt, to move forward. And yeah, there are signs along the way. And that, yeah, that's a good, never really thought of it that way. I just always remembered it. But yeah, that was a pretty
Yeah.
big sign. If you lost your job, if you lost your job and there's something else you've been wanting to do, or even occasionally the idea would come in your mind, I'd really like to be doing this, but because we get comfortable in a job. And if we all need money, that's one thing about the world. Every person on the planet needs money. And how do we get that? We get it through a job. I mean, up until 10 years ago, I always had, jobs. You need a job. But so if you do have a passion of you'd like to be doing something else, whether it's healing, some kind of energy work, coaching, if it's, I mean, yeah, being an electrician or a woodworker or an artist or painting or sculpting or, anything like that. So you've got that passion, you've got an idea, feel into that and imagine what it will feel like when you're doing that full time. When you want to leave your corporate job and do full-time energy work. So imagine when you're doing that full time and you get up in the morning and check, okay, these are my clients for the day, this is what I'm going to be doing, or something happens and you need to take a day off. You don't have to go to the boss. Now you have to work, but you can arrange that so you have that kind of freedom. Yes, there's still work and there's, running a business. There's all the, like my nemesis is techie stuff. I'm not tech savvy at all. But the passion, the what I do, this kind of stuff, I love doing this. But you can arrange your life around your business and your business around your life. You've got that kind of freedom, and you've got the flexibility to try different things. As an entrepreneur or self-employed, you're always trying different things. And so give yourself permission to really feel into that and imagine that. And if you can't imagine that, then read stories or hear others who have gone through it and what it's been for them, and the freedom and the flexibility to choose for themselves, to be their own boss and such, and feel into that and emotionally connect to that. And the more your emotions are like a magnet. The more you emotionally connect to feeling, oh my gosh, once I'm doing this full time, oh, I can just feel that, the pressure falling off me, and feeling, knowing I have the freedom and the flexibility to live life the way I choose to live life. And there's no limits on how much money I make. I decide that. And you feel into that and you feel that, there you go. I can start feeling the heart connection there. And once you have that heart connection to your vision, it acts as a magnet so that the vision, see, you're infusing that emotional energy into your vision. So the vision magnetizes to you. Your heart is open to that vision. You magnetize to that vision. And eventually, like, that becomes more and more powerful till it's in your mind 24/7. You wake up thinking about it, feeling into it, excited about this is going to happen. I know it's possible. And when you have that heart connection, then you start believing it's possible. And stuff will still come up like it did for you, this morning, and it will still come up, but you have that, you can feel it now, you have that passion, and then it's just a matter of time. And now the comfort zone, I call it seductive because it's familiar, it's comforting, it's a comfort zone. And so if you're afraid to get out of the comfort zone, but you have that really powerful magnetism to your vision and you can feel it and you think about it, then the universe will step in and say, hey, you're not paying attention. You're going to lose your job. This is going to happen. Somebody else is going to get a promotion over you. And because it's time for you to move on and follow your vision and your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting at work because we've had like this big uproar and some chaos, and everybody was feeling very unsure about their position at work, felt very vulnerable. And then it kind of evened out. So everybody took a big breath. Okay, maybe we're not waiting for that other shoe to drop. And then now there's a little bit more chaos. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, all right, I'm preparing, so. And that's what I've been doing. And I've said to my husband as well, we need to prepare for this stuff because here at the end, here's the age that I actually am going to be leaving that job, one way or the other.
Right.
Mhm.
So, that gives some lee room, but let's get on this business, right? And so then I'm watching too body signs and stuff with different things that I've been learning. And, like when your knees are aching, it's like, oh, okay, it's because I'm afraid to take that step forward now. And because our bodies tell us so much if we're
Oh,
open to
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, uh, your bodies will, yeah, listen to your bodies. Your bodies are great signs of what's going on. The book by, um, Candice Bergen. Is it Candice Bergen? She's passed since now, but it's about it's about emotional frequencies, and if you're interested in that and how the body tells you what's going on and paying attention to it, I'll look up the book and I'll send it to you. It just came to mind, so I wish I could remember it because it was so powerful. It's thick. She was a scientist, so and it's thick, but it's just fascinating. It's all about emotions in the body.
Yeah,
Well,
you have to pay attention to that. You really do. You know, because the emotions tell us where to go next. They
Mm.
really do. And I mean, I do that even when I'm doing a reading with someone. Because I'm an empath, right? I feel their emotions too while I'm doing the reading. And I did one just recently on a woman who has been diagnosed with passing with cancer very quickly. She wanted me to tell her when she was going to die. And yeah, and my empath part of me was going, no. Even though Spirit was giving me messages, I said to her, I'm not God. You know, God will decide when you're supposed to take those steps of where you're moving to, sort of thing. It seemed to be okay for her. But the emotions that I felt at the time when she said it, I thought, oh my God. you
Yeah,
know,
that's intense. I can feel that even, yeah.
like, oh my God, how do I respond to her? And I just touched her hand and I said, I'm not God, and you will know when it's time, and don't be afraid. That's all and I elaborated a bit on that. But yeah, you have to pay attention because my emotions just went, woo,
Oh, yeah, that would
blew
that
up.
that's tough when somebody's got a diagnosis like that, and that's yeah, those are tough ones to deal with because you're yeah, enough said.
they
You
are.
learn how to go with them. That's what I was trying to get at. You know how to work with your emotions once you get in those kind of situations. You learn as you, I know, maybe maturity too, or maybe just listening to spirit.
Mhm.
But you do learn how to move with it in order to make it a comfortable situation versus not, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, Barb, what you're saying there is your compassion, where when she asked you that question, because I can feel it within you, that just you connected to her through compassion. You're already connected through compassion. And when she asked that question, instead of you weren't in your ego, of course, like being right or anything like that, you just reacted to her with compassion. And when you do that, then that's when you're authentic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So,
yeah. That's the only
wow,
way it can be. Yeah.
that would have been intense.
Yeah, it was. It was. Thought about it and felt the emotions all the way home. It took me an hour and a half to drive home. And I was working with the emotions even still after it was finished, right? Because I did her son next, right?
Mm.
So,
Wow.
we're all the emotions with him too. We're all out in front, right? When's my mother going to
Mhm.
die and things like that. Those were all the questions, right? So afterwards, I had to deal with my emotions because they stick sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I had to deal with the emotions and release them as I was going home. Like, this doesn't stay with me. It's not mine to grieve over. But even though I think that you still have to grieve a little bit for those people of what they're going through at the time, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, so I was okay with it in the end. Yeah, interesting.
Wow, that's, yeah, you've got to, and when you're doing this kind of work, you have to deal with, release emotions. Like I love walking in nature. Where I live now here on Vancouver Island, I'm an 8-minute walk from the ocean, and then there's some stairs. It's just this small little, area in a residential area, and then there's stairs that go down to the ocean. And it's just so beautiful there. And because it's kind of secluded, usually there's nobody there, and I can look right out into the ocean, and and I can feel the energy just, flowing off me and any heaviness. Because as soon as I get to the top of the stairs there and I look down, my whole self relaxes. The energy there is so amazing. There was about a month ago, I was doing my taxes, and it takes several days. It took me 3 days to do my taxes, just focusing on numbers. And that's very left brain. And so you got to make that switch. And I remember so I was done my taxes, just focus on that for 3 days, other than taking my dog out, like I just was all about numbers, and then the stress of doing taxes and money and all that. And I still remember how when I walked down to the ocean there and got to the top of the stairs and I looked down, oh man, it was just like after being in that heavy energy of doing taxes and then seeing this, and on both sides as we go down the stairs is the forest, like it's just nature. And then the water, it just, oh man, it's so stunning. So yeah,
Oh.
that's definitely one way I will clear myself. Yeah, you can feel the
Oh
energy.
yeah, it feels
Yeah.
good. I'm just feeling it as you're talking about it.
Yeah, you can feel your joy with it,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
just
Yeah.
that. And I was thinking, like, so often, like, I'll find myself and I'll take this big, deep breath and I'll be like, how long have I been holding my breath?
Yeah.
Mm.
Right?
That's the truth
Because
sometimes.
I think when you're doing stuff like that, very left brain like that, you often are so focused, you're not really breathing like you should. And it almost felt like as you get to the top of the stairs, it's like, oh, I can breathe again, right?
Yeah.
Just release all of that other stuff from
Yeah,
my life,
yeah.
which is
Yeah,
amazing.
I can have a tendency to hold, and I do that, hold my breath, especially when I'm doing taxes. And that's trauma, when we hold our
Yes.
breath like that and we forget to let it go, because the breath moves everything through, and it moves toxins through and energies through. So if, somebody has a habit of holding on to their breath and all of a sudden go, oh, realize I wasn't breathing. Just ask yourself if you're holding on to trauma and if you need to release something there. If somebody has a habit of it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
thank you for that because yeah, I've just noticed lately I and I've become aware of it, right? Because it's all of a sudden it's like a oh, I just caught my breath, right? I'm like, how long was I holding it for? Obviously breathing at some point because I'm living, but not
Yeah.
really breathing into it. So thank you for
Mhm.
You
sharing
were
that.
talking about it too, being at the ocean and all that. It reminds me when we lived by there, and going down there, and you brought back some really nice feelings of what I used to experience at the time and what I miss. So thank you for that.
Oh, you used to live on the island?
Actually, no, not in the island. I actually lived in BC for a while in Vancouver.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
Mm.
I used to go down to the ocean there and just sit by a log sometimes when I got really stressed out on the ocean, and I'd walk down to the beach and just sit there. Sometimes I'd take a, a couple of little joy drinks with me.
Absolutely,
There
yeah.
and drink it while I was just taking in everything around me and letting go of my day and all the stress that was around me. And then when I got back home to my kids and that, it was like I was a nice person again, right? Then they would like me better. But I needed to do that. I was a person that needed to escape into something else to get that good energy back in order to complete my day. And the ocean does that for me too. It's a beautiful.
You brought up a really powerful manifestation technique there. Is so like when I was talking about the ocean, you went into that memory.
Oh yeah.
And the memory, you feel so good, so it brings back those good feelings. That's a really good way for people who, like I've had some people say, well, I can't visualize, like I just can't imagine that. And go to a memory and when you felt good. And let's say there's something you want to create in your life, but you want to do it, but you can't feel into it. You can't, and those emotions are they magnetize it to you and you to your desire. So go to a memory of when, even when you were young, even if you're a little kid, of when you're happy, Maybe you had some kind of experience where you felt relaxed, or you were out, you went to a concert, whatever it was. And remember those emotions, and then infuse those emotions. If it's going to the ocean, you remember going to the ocean and just getting away from it all and relaxing. Remember that, and then infuse that into your passion, your desires, your dreams. And in that way, you create that powerful magnetic connection.
Beautiful.
So that was great. Thank you for bringing that up.
Hey, thank you for explaining it too. It was interesting. One more thing I want to add. This morning I was doing laundry, and when I was taking the things out of the wash machine and putting in the dryer, I found 3 dimes. And when I'm standing there with the 3 dimes in my hand, and I'm thinking, okay, so who are the 3 people that are with me right now from the other side? You know,
Oh, wow.
that they're saying to me, hey, what are you doing today? You know, sort of thing. And it gave me a reflection of what I needed to know for today with those
Wow.
3 dimes in my hand. It was really cool.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's just another sign there.
Just another
Yeah,
sign.
we're talking about signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're everywhere if we listen to them, right?
Yeah.
We just got to start opening up to them and asking for them and, watching them appear into our lives
Yeah.
however they appear. So,
Mhm.
can you tell everybody where they can find you?
My website, courageinaction.com. So courageinaction.com. And they can get a free Messages from Spirit ebook there. So these are channeled messages from Spirit. Most of them there's several that are written, and there's about an hour and a half of MP3s there. So you can get that. And then if you go to either the very bottom of the page, there's 33 days of healing, that program. We talked about it at the beginning of um, the call here, and that starts June 29th, and it's 33 days. So it's 30 days or 30 minutes a day of remote healing all day long. I'm thinking about the whole group, the participants, and you're held in this healing. It's like a healing chamber almost. And it does for some people at the beginning, depends how much work you have to do, inner work. So it will bring up some stuff for maybe the first couple of weeks, but by the end, you're feeling light and free if you want to. And if you've got some kind of dream you're ready to, or you want to be ready to step into or take action on, and you focus on that during the 33 days, and that's a long time to be held in that, that healing space. And again, with the Messages from Spirit and the Q&A calls, they all support you as well, and they support this energy. By the end of it, say the last week, it just gets this beautiful flowing energy, and you can really feel your vision come to fruition. So that's either at the end of the page or under the button called shop. You'll find a icon for it there as well.
Okay,
Boy, I
perfect.
really like that courage in action. That gave me a really nice, strong touch there. So good for you. I liked it.
And you said you're on YouTube now as well?
Yeah, and that's actually at Courage in Action as well.
Okay.
And yeah, if somebody wants, free videos, there's money. I've got several money videos there about dealing with change. There's one for releasing pressure, with the chaos in the world, you can feel so much pressure. And there's all about releasing pressure. It works on the nervous system as well. So that's at Courage in Action.
Perfect.
Very
Well,
nice.
thank you so much for being with us. And I'm going to ask my favorite question. If you had one final thought to leave with everybody, what would it be?
Know that it's possible. If you have desires, dreams, they are possible. They are spirit. They are the light universe giving you those ideas. So it is possible. You wouldn't receive those ideas if it wasn't possible. If you don't feel it's the time, that's great, but know that it's possible. And believe in yourself. You are a beautiful being. You are amazing. The light is within you. By being here, the light that is within you radiates out. No matter what you're doing, if you're walking down the street, if you're sleeping, that light is radiating out. You have value. You have value. You are offering value to humanity, or you are supporting humanity with your light and value. So believe in yourself and know that you are beautiful inside and out, and you are here for a reason and a purpose. And thank you for being here.
Wow. Very nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
That is a very beautiful message. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure sharing space with you.
Yes, it
I
is.
know both Mom and I really, really enjoy it. So
Yes, very much
thank
so.
you. And we hope you will come back another time with us.
Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on your show again.
Alrighty. And everybody else, we will see you the next time.
You bet.